Welcome to this episode of Blended, Blessed, and Always a Mess. I'm Eric.
And I'm Angie.
We are married with a ton of kids.
We have 6 kids total. He has 3 and I have 3.
My name's Hallie and I love riding horses.
My name's Lexi and I've always been the most responsible.
My name's Carter and I like picking on my siblings.
My name's Chase and I love a clean truck.
My name's Summer and I still like to spend my parents' money.
My name's Dane and I love baseball.
And around here, we talk about the real stuff. Parenting, marriage, faith.
Along with grief, growth, second chances, and blended family life.
And all the in-between moments that don't make it to Instagram.
Our podcast is for the couples figuring it out, the parents trying their best, and the ones holding faith and heartbreak in the same hand.
Look, we don't have it all together.
Not even close.
But we do have honesty.
And a whole lot of grace.
This is Blended, Blessed, and Always a Mess.
Let's get into it.
This episode is brought to you by Sevens Boutique, an online shop created by 2 sisters, Angie and Jess, who believe you should walk boldly, dress divinely, and know your significance. At Sevens, you'll find easygoing pieces that are cozy, classy, and made to mix and match. Think relaxed pants, cozy sweaters, and lifestyle sets you'll want to live in. Every item is handpicked with purpose, so you can shop confidently, dress comfortably, and walk boldly. Inventory is small and curated, so if you see something you love, don't wait. Visit sevensboutique.com and use the code PODCAST10 for 10% off your first order. www.sevensboutique.com. Walk boldly, dress divinely, know your significance.
Welcome to this week's episode of Blended, Blessed, and Always a Mess, where we are loving the feedback that we're hearing from many of you on the new podcast intro and outro, and that makes it feel like it was worthwhile. I'm glad that we did that. If you are watching the YouTube video today, one of us looks younger.
Yeah, we talk about that later.
So yeah, we'll discuss. But we're talking about how grief changes you, and it changes what matters. It also changes what does not. So we've recently gotten back into this routine of asking ourselves the question, does this really matter?
Yeah, we obviously talk about grief all the time on this podcast, but I think it's any sort of trial and tribulation that you go through that kind of rewires who you are. It's like someone hands you a new pair of glasses and suddenly this scoreboard of life looks completely different. Things that maybe felt urgent before don't. And the things that actually matter, like protect them even more. They feel more sacred.
We're on a week-long break down at Hallie's house, and that doesn't happen very often. Actually, we realized that the 2 of us have never had just a week down here since we bought it.
No, and we actually messed up. We normally only try to be gone Wednesday through Monday if we're going to do a weekend away, so it doesn't change the kids' schedules, and they're not missing out on any time with us. And we were sitting at Chase's wrestling meet a couple weeks ago. And I'm like, hey, Eric, what time's our flights on Wednesday? And he looks it up and goes, oh, I think you booked those this time. And I go look it up and I'm like, yeah, I didn't book any flights. So we actually didn't have flights down here. And so we start looking at them at limited flights this time of year. And there really wasn't much. So it's like, okay, are we going to drive? And we're not going to be gone that long. And we started looking through flights more, and they were really cheap and better flight times if we left on Monday. So we're down here a Monday to a Monday, which is very, as Eric mentioned, very abnormal for us. But we kind of got into this conversation around what matters and doesn't matter the week before this trip of just like planning it and in conversation. I'm like, I think we need to dive into this topic again. I know we've talked about it before. So we just started writing down things that has happened to us that it was like, okay, would you put that on the list of what does matter or what doesn't matter? I mean, some of it's serious, some of it's funny.
It is. And I think some of what happened was started last week before we even left to come down here.
Yeah. So we'll start with what does matter. And like we said, this is just stuff that has happened to us recently. But I lead a team at work and I have one-on-ones with my direct reports on a regular basis. And so Amber, my great friend, best friend, works for me. And so we do one-on-ones every other week. And recently we decided this is silly. You live in the same community as I do. We should be doing our one-on-ones when it's nice. Either we go on a walk and talk, or we sit outside or we sit in the sauna. And so we just recently changed it up. So Friday afternoon, it was nice outside. And again, it's always great to get your vitamin D. Just even if you have 15 minutes sitting outside, it's so good for the soul. We decided we're going to sit outside. So we're sitting outside talking through some things, and Hallie ended up coming up as a topic, as always. And as we're talking, we hear this like god awful scratching sound, like metal scratching. And so it was a little bit breezy. We thought something had blown up against the house and was like the wind was blowing it and it was hitting metal, but there was nothing blowing around. So we both get up and we're looking around and it's like, what is that? And we have gutters across the, top of our roof line. And then there's this long drain,
A downspout.
a long downspout that's 2 stories down our deck to drain. And there was like a bird stuck in that gutter way down at the bottom, no way to get out, scratching and clawing.
Wanted back to safety, for sure.
And so, first of all, it was like, oh my God, this is gut wrenching. Why all these birds? We have bird issues all the time.
Can we get an answer how?
Feathers matter. This bird's feathers mattered. And so Eric gets home that night and I'm like, there is a bird stuck in our gutter, in our downspout. And then we couldn't really hear it. So the next day,
I thought maybe at that point it got out. I thought maybe it found a way to get out of this downspout. Anyway, the next day I laid on the back porch. It's a screened-in porch. And as I was trying to fall asleep, all of a sudden this god-awful scratching and flapping, and you could hear it just banging around in there. And I'm like, well, that is still stuck in there. And we were forecasting a lot of rain over the next 7 days. And so I'm like, man, if that bird's stuck in there, it's going to, 1, die, 2, it may back things up as far as like physical home problems. And so I thought we got to get this thing out, even if we have to go 2 stories up to do it, which is what we had to do Sunday morning after church. I got Dane and Chase out back and we put the ladder up, and Chase and I took turns going up the 2 stories, being about 20 feet or so high, to get the top of this downspout out. And we ended up getting it. Sure enough, the bird was at the very bottom, like in the drain, trying to go, that goes like underneath our concrete, out of the pool, all of those things. And so we got it out, bottom line.
Yeah, so
it took a second though.
Sometimes it's very obnoxious and right in your face that something needs your attention, and it does matter. So we definitely put this on that list of being stewards of the life that you have and the living things around you. That's a must.
All right. So the next thing that matters for us is your health overall, and your health is wealth. And, the more I read in my Bible, like God gave us these bodies and it's our earthly body, right? So we're supposed to protect it. God made us in his image. And it's actually really good when we take care of our bodies. It's honoring God. It's honoring Christ. A lot of things that go into taking care of ourselves and when it comes to all of our health.
Well, yeah. And the older we get, like health is definitely something that we don't assume anymore. We're at the point where our parents are aging, we're getting older. Breast cancer screening is 40 for those that are average risk. Colonoscopy is 45. And those 2 are the top 2 cancers out there. And so there's a lot of preventative stuff. None of us like going. You might like going.
I don't like going. Angie makes fun of me because I do go to the doctor a lot. Even my doctor started making fun of me, so I haven't been going. But I would say I never went to the doctor until Hallie died. And then all of a sudden, I was going to the doctor all the time. I would still tell you that my body's not right. Like I have all of my lymph nodes hurt regularly, but all the blood work comes back that it's fine. And I do try to take care of myself. Obviously I quit drinking alcohol almost 19 months ago, and that has made me feel better in a lot of ways.
I think what you just said is something that I want to highlight, because I know we've talked about it on here before. I just don't think people realize the emotional, mental strain of extreme grief physically impacts you. Physically, you will feel ill like a lot of the time. And I think you don't even realize the physical aspect to it, that it makes you feel like you've got all these things going on and your body doesn't feel right. My body still doesn't feel right either. And some things you absolutely can't control, but you can control the preventative care you can control, eating healthy you can control, make sure that you're moving your body, like all those things. It's so relevant to us right now that we were talking about it. And it's like, that is on the list of what does matter for sure.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you want to try to be around for your kids as long as possible because I lost my dad when I was 27. He was 52. He's a week before his 53rd birthday. And, he just fell over dead one day. I know how hard that was on me, my younger sisters, even my own kids. Like, Dane never got to meet his grandpa. Carter and him were so close, and Carter kind of knows that, but he has no real memories because Carter wasn't even quite 2 when my dad died. Lexi and him had a great relationship. And now that I'm getting closer to the age that he was when he died, it's very much, I've said to my heart doctor, like, it's very much on my mind that my grandpa had his first heart attack, my dad's dad around 40. And then my dad fell over dead at 52 in that I'm 45, right in the middle of those areas. And so I am trying to live a healthier lifestyle so that I can be around to walk Lexi down the aisle, to be around. I want to see my grandkids be 18, 20, get married, that sort of thing. Now, if not, I'm perfectly happy to be with Jesus too. I will say that. But if I got hit by a bus tomorrow, I'm fine with that. But in this world, we are trying to honor the bodies that God has given us by living healthier. And that's become something that really does matter.
Yeah. So the next one on our list was going to our kids' games, their events. And so this one, I would say, absolutely wrecks me if I miss out on an event that my kids are playing. It's not just sports, but something that's important to them, that they are performing, they're, working hard, doing their best. Now, there's times where you can't be there. I know mapping out summer's upcoming soccer schedule, there's some games I'm going to miss, and that is painful from, just from a work perspective. But being so present in their lives matters. And so I think that's so important. I know you just had this example last weekend with Carter, baseball game, and making sure that you were there to show up. The emails can wait, the laundry can wait, that memory does not.
Yeah. I mean, it's so true. I just want to say, in a blended family, if you started listening to us because you have a blended family, so important that you make sure your partner doesn't miss their kids' events. Because I've been in that relationship where it's like, oh, you're choosing those kids over this relationship. And I had to do a lot of apologizing after that was over with my 2 older kids. I still carry that guilt with me. When Angie and I started dating, she was immediately like, no, we don't miss our kids' events. And it was just such a breath of fresh air that I didn't understand. Like, she was very clear that she wanted me to not miss what my kids were doing. And so that's been really freeing for me and really allowed me to show up as the best version of myself as a dad for my kids. And so this past Saturday, Carter's baseball season been off to a bit of a slow start, just a lot of great guys on the team, and he hasn't seen the field as much as he would like. And so I always text him, like, hey, when he's at home, I'm like, I'm on standby. It's about 50 minutes from our house to where he plays. And he texted me and I was like, I'll be in the car in 5 minutes. And so,
you were gone.
Dane and I wanted to go. So we hopped in the car door. We were 10 minutes late, but got there in time to watch him have the best college baseball game that he has ever played. So glad that I didn't miss that. And then afterwards, he wanted to grab dinner to celebrate. Angie's like, yeah, you guys should definitely stick around, have dinner. So me, Dane, and Carter got to grab dinner after that. And so super cool. Those are the moments you don't want to miss because you never know what's going to happen with your kids in those games. And one of the things I do love about my job is that my boss, when I started back there, like in 2008, 10, something like that, she was like, you never have to miss a kid event. And that's been true. And I really appreciate that because I know a lot of my coworkers miss. And I remember my dad had to miss a lot of my sporting events because he was not allowed to be off work until the time that he got to clock out at the end of the day. And so I remember games that started at 3:30 that my mom was at, that my dad couldn't be at, and things like that. So it is important to be able to take off, especially if your employer will allow it, not miss those things.
I want to go back real quick on something you said around a previous relationship and them not wanting you to attend some of your kids' games. Just want to take the opportunity to point out a relationship red flag.
Yeah.
If you're in a relationship where the other person is not trying to help you be the best version of you, that is an unhealthy relationship. That is a red flag. In that example that Eric mentioned, I would be alarmed if he didn't want to go to his kids' game. that was one thing that I loved about him when we first started dating was how he showed up as a dad. Me enabling that and making sure that he feels no guilt of going to his kids' games is helping him reassure him to be the best version of himself as a dad. And so, again, I don't know why that just gave me the ick.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you pointed it out. I mean, that's why I brought it up. Like, it's important that we don't miss our kids' stuff. And a lot of people are listening because you're part of a blended family. And it's important that your significant other supports kids that aren't their own. It's one of the things that's made the crew so great is how much we support each other's kids.
A lot of times that looks like we're going separate. Like we're dividing and conquering. He's going to his kids' stuff, especially in the spring. There's a lot of overlap. So you divide and conquer and you see everybody that night when everybody gets home at 9:00 or whatever that looks like. And so you do have to be intentional your time. But like in a relationship, that is your job, is to support the person so that they can be the best version of themselves. All right. Well, leading into the next one on our list of what does matter. Relevant right now is taking time off.
We usually grind. Like, it's hard for us not to. Angie's trying to just be this year, which is...
Oh, God. I usually my goal is to try to be down here at Hallie's house once a quarter. Didn't do that last year. September was the last time I was down here. We didn't travel down here in December. And so it's like 6 months. And I knew it in September that it was likely going to be a while. And I just feel so much more peace down here when I can take a break and escape down here to Florida. But that doesn't mean that happens overnight, that I can unwind. And so I do think that we are very protective over our rest because we know how much we go. Now, we get down here on Monday and we run into a million little things. Internet wasn't working. Yeah. We couldn't find some of our rugs. I mean, it was just like one thing after another that we were getting hit Monday night when we were trying to get settled in. So the next morning, Tuesday, Father Eric over here.
Come on.
Was like, you need to read this devotional. And for that particular day, it was all about like, stop.
About trusting the Lord.
Trust the process. Like he's got you. You don't need to go all the time. So I've been like, all right, well, I'm going to lean into that.
She's been very sarcastic is what she's been. She's been making fun of my devotional.
No, I'm really trying. I'm being snarky, but I am really like trying. So
at least you acknowledge you're being snarky.
I am being snarky. That's just me.
Here I am trying to lead my household faithfully.
But you struggle.
You got 4 books over there. I'm like, they're my devotionals I read every morning. I have 4 different devotionals that I read.
I think why I'm snarky about it is because...
And my Bible.
Is because you actually go all the time too. And I feel like you also struggle with it. So it was just funny that you gave it to me. And I know it's hard for you to sit still and not do too.
For sure.
So we both are working on that. Very easily recognize we got to have downtime. Now let's like really protect that, because I think the one thing grief teaches you too in this space is that if you are completely burnt out, you're not living in the moment and you'll never get that time back. So it's all about making sure that your energy, your peace is protected so that you can show up for the people that you love and care about.
Also, one of the things that does matter, movement. Movement is so important to your body. Like people that just sit around and don't do anything. Like if you end up breaking something, it is so much harder for you to heal. And so whether you're taking regular walks, which we do, we've talked about the sauna recently to sweat it out. It's not things that we're doing because we're being like vain. It's not about the vanity aspect. It's really about taking care of our bodies.
So that's our short list of what does matter. Now we can go into our little list that we made of what doesn't matter, like a garage door not getting fixed in a timely manner. Would you like to talk about that one?
Well, yes, I suppose.
This is actually what started this whole conversation about what does and doesn't matter.
Well, I have to take care of my mom's finances for her, and then my sister lives there and takes care of her. And that means I deal with their landlord, and they moved into a new space back in November. And it's, this day and age, they're charged a pretty penny for rent on a pretty old home. And it's been since they moved in, the garage door doesn't open and close. And my mom obviously is half paralyzed, needs wheelchair to get into the car and back. So I didn't want her all winter with snow and things like that being like taken outside. So I've been asking about this garage door to get fixed since November, and here we are into March. And, every time I'd talk to the guy, I'd get the runarounds. And I work with a garage door company, so they were like, we'll help, like, let us know. And so I went over there and I still wasn't getting anything done. They kept trying to break or fix broken parts that weren't being fixed to where it really is a safety hazard. And so I came home, I was frustrated. I was complaining about it to Angie, and she was like, this doesn't matter. You need to calm down. It's just a garage door. So I did try to calm down. What I did then is go to my garage door people, and they did a free estimate, and I sent it to the guy, and now it is getting fixed this week. So, but I had to go do a bunch of that. But it did get me worked up. I did get a little worked up over the deal.
He was worked up, and I'm like, yes, I get it. That is frustrating, and that's inconvenience. But it's not worth your energy and your blood pressure.
My blood pressure might have been going up a little bit on it. Sure, for sure. All right, what about the small stuff?
So I would say here that in the last couple years, what grief has taught me especially is to let things go faster. Like, just let go of it. We all deal with these small hurts in and out throughout our days or weeks or whatever. And sometimes I know we can hang on to that stuff pretty tightly. It's whether it's a comment someone made on your social media or something somebody did that was a small hurt. I'm not talking about $5 million hurts. I'm talking about like a $5 hurt. And I just think, with the new glasses on through this lens, it seems silly to hold on to that when like there's these much bigger hurts out there and you felt them. And so I still feel the small hurts, but I just let go of it. It's like, okay, this does this really matter? And the answer is always no. It doesn't matter.
I'm going to remember you said that the next time I say something
Unless
stupid.
It's Eric. I didn't caveat that. But
I'm
if it's something he does
you just
to me,
said this.
I'm going to hold on to it tight.
Happy marriage.
Save it in my little pocket and then get it back out when I need to.
Uh-huh. Yep. That sounds okay. Again, I'm going to just earmark this moment of the podcast and come back to it.
So here's one other thing.
Yeah.
That we'll to here. Doesn't matter. We were just got in our car after we landed Monday night, and Eric's like, oh, I forgot to trim up my goatee. Maybe I'll just shave it off tonight.
They'll be back by the weekend.
And I'm like, what did I say?
You're like, no, you're not going to do that. I don't know, but you were not you were definitely not on board.
No. And he's like, well, why? It grows back fast. I'm like, well, why would you? You probably.
It's actually slower than I remembered, but still.
He said 2 days.
Yeah, it's been 2 days now.
And you still look
by Saturday, we'll be fine.
I'm like, have you ever done that? I don't remember you not having that. And also, what if it's white underneath there? You have tan lines from where your hair was.
I don't. It's not.
So that was in the conversation. He's like, well, I mean, I guess you don't really want me to do that. And then the next day,
that night, actually,
comes out.
No, it was that night. So what happened was we got home and we had all these little things happening around the house. The internet wasn't working. We couldn't find things. We couldn't find our coffee pot. Couldn't find rugs that go in the house. They were out back. It was just weird. The maintenance company didn't do their job right. And so it was frustrating. And we were getting frustrated. And then I was just F it.
I'm going to do a new look.
I took a shower because we'd been working. I was sweaty, traveling all day. And I was like, I have to shave anyway. I'm just shaving it all off. So it was 10 o'clock at night. I walked into the bedroom and she was thrilled. She was excited.
Wow.
She was not loving it. I don't either.
You don't like it either.
Summer doesn't like it. Dane doesn't like it.
But when people know you from this one, it's not like you switch up stuff very often.
No, I'm pretty basic bitch. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's it's a big change.
Yeah. I've had the same haircut forever. Jesse always asks me, and I'm like, same thing, Jesse. Unless you have something that's going to make Angie want me more, then leave it. This is what we're looking for.
Doesn't matter.
And then, but yeah, so I did shave off my goatee and I look like I'm 12. Meanwhile, it'll be 5 days. So this is one of those things that doesn't really matter. Not a big deal.
Yeah. And the challenges we ran into when we first got down here, doesn't matter. It's is it life altering? No.
That's why I had to read the devotional the next morning.
It was so helpful.
Yeah.
So helpful.
When you're like, hey, just calm down.
Yeah.
So helpful. Okay.
Mm-hmm. I get it.
What about people's opinions?
Doesn't matter.
Don't care about your opinion.
We don't, I think I keep going back to grief, like going through this, like I have zero need for anyone's approval, because when you go through something so deep like that, to do any sort of performance or like not be real or authentic or try to like measure up to what people expect from you, that's so heavy. There's no space for that. And so, yeah, people's opinions, zero cares.
Zero of the thing.
In itself is a gift to just be authentically you, no matter what, because you know that you have walked through hell and you survived. So not much can really touch that. One of the things we talk about too is just like, where do you want to eat tonight? And my answer usually is like, I don't care. Like food doesn't matter to me. Like I'm not going to get hung up on, I didn't want to eat there, or I wanted to eat there, or I didn't like this food or that food, or there's a new gas station being built over here. I mean, none of that, like not much really impacts me. And there's times where I think, God, is there something wrong with me? Like, am I getting so jaded at the world and I'm
jaded
and I'm like caring less? But it's not that I care less. I think I care more, but about fewer things.
That makes sense.
And I think grief just simplifies things. It exposes this illusion that we have some sort of control, and it reveals just how fragile and sacred life is. And so you just stop majoring in the minors and you stop panicking about things that won't matter in 5 years, and you just hold tight to the people that are in front of you. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters.
Amen, sister. And so I guess, for you guys, think about like things that actually matter and don't matter. Like that's definitely something that you can process as you go through this. Maybe something happened to you even this morning. I mean, think about how many weeks, and you hear about it all the time, and we've all been there, where you're trying to get the family ready to get out the door and go to church. And it becomes this one massive argument. Because one, the devil's trying to work on a Sunday when you're going to church. But in the grand scheme of things, is the argument worth it when you're trying to go spend some time with the Lord as a family? Probably not. But these are all things that we can think about throughout the week. And before we close, I do want to say thank you to Sean from Springfield, Missouri. He sent us a message over the week that he was thinking about us and wanted to lift our family up, as we kind of talked about over the last couple of episodes, was trying to reach out and show up for people. And I actually ran into him at Little Caesars probably a month or more ago, waiting on some pizza for Dane and his buddies on a Friday night. And he was waiting on pizza too, and said he recognized me from a podcast I did with The Crossing on giving up alcohol, and our podcast he had started listening to. And so it was cool of you to send a nice note to Angie and I that you were lifting us up after we had just asked for people to do that for each other. So really cool. We appreciate you listening and sending that message. If anybody else is going through anything, we would love to also try to lift you up too. So don't hesitate to reach out. I know a lot of you reach out to Angie on a regular basis. Anything else that you want to add, or we got to decide what's for dinner and make sure it's not a big deal? So
it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Got it.
It doesn't matter.
All right. Something really good and greasy it is then. I love it.
Find a salad.
We got to
find a salad.
We're taking care of our bodies. I got it. Guys, thanks for hanging out with us today. We really appreciate it. If this resonated with you, share it with somebody who's walking through their own kind of life reset, whatever that may be. But we are happy to have you with us. As always, I hope that you have a wonderful week. And if you didn't listen to the outro last week, give it a listen now. God bless. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Blended, Blessed, and Always a Mess. Lexi and Hal, take it away.
I'm Lexi.
And I'm Hallie.
Have a great week.
Or have the week that you deserve.
That was perfect.
Yeah, God bless.